They play e4, and we play e5. This is very standard, very common first move, and of course the position on the thumbnail, this queen h5 thing. So the first thing to understand about early queen moves is that they're not like very scary, but they're also not totally horrible. And this most common move, the point is that white is generally trying to attack this pawn, not right away, but maybe when a bishop joins, because then the bishop and the queen will hit together. But the immediate threat is this, and a lot of people here will play pawn to g6, queen will take, they will lose a rook, and the game is already lost for black. The way you deal with early queen moves in general, if you're going to play e5, knight to c6 is the best second move, because you defend your pawn, you just don't, is this queen threatening anything? No, okay, I'm good. If the bishop now comes out, you've got to stop the threat. And if you can stop the threat and develop your position without causing huge weaknesses, then you should. In this position, you can defend against this with the queen, or you can play pawn to g6 now, attacking the queen, because this is now protected. Sometimes the queen will slide back. You've got to block this attack. You can't just keep developing. You'll hang a checkmate. So you've got to stop all the threats. This is protected, so the queen cannot take. And sometimes here, white will play something really aggressive, like g4. The point of g4 is that if you just keep developing, now I have pawn to g5, right? You've definitely probably seen something like, definitely probably is not a good way to form a sentence, but anyway, g4, g5 is another way to just attack you, make you move your knight, and then checkmate you all the same. There is a balance you have to understand, and generally it's okay. Like, I'm finishing my development, and if something like this is going to happen, can I counterattack my opponent somehow? You gotta ask yourself this question. Can I counterattack my opponent somehow? And you can. Knight to d4 is the best move. Now the queen's stuck. Sometimes the queen will go here, you will take, you will fork, and the queen will just be lost completely. And if the queen just defends against that, well, then there's a free pawn. There's also this free pawn attacking the queen all the same. So you can punish crazy, dumb-looking early queen moves, especially in e4, e5 positions, by just not falling for the traps, noticing what's under attack, defending against all these threats. It doesn't matter if the second move of the game is queen to f3. It really makes no difference. Knight c6, for example, like say c3, so you can't go here. Okay, what if white goes g4? Okay, well, what's the threat of g4? Okay, g5, I can stop that by playing pawn to h6, or, as I said, striking back, generally in the center of the board, sometimes with a pawn, a second pawn in the center. This is not chess. This is chess. This whole thing is chess, but this is not chess. If you strike back in the middle to take advantage of your opponent not developing enough pieces, that can happen with pawns or with pieces, they will have problems, because if they just keep attacking you, now you're picking up material. And after that, you made it out of the opening, which is kind of the whole point. It's what we were trying to do, so we're very happy. There's other openings where the queen can come out, but in general, this is sort of the way that you would do it. Queen h5 is the most popular. Some people will just play like queen f3 and leave the queen there. Develop, put two pawns in the center if you can. Bishop comes out, castle, then punish the queen. Okay, there's no way I can give you something to memorize, because early queen moves you can't memorize them. They're weird, they're not very good, but follow those principles. Stabilize the position, monitor what the queen is looking at, and don't chase it if it can capture something for free. Once you defend everything, only then do you go and attack. I actually had a few people ask me this question, like, Levy, I'll play an opening and my opponent will do this. Like, now what? Well, this is what you do. Two knights. Go after the queen if possible. For example, sometimes black plays knight c6. Already you can put your knight in the middle. That's very good. But sometimes they'll play something like c6, and you can't get close with the pieces. Well, finish your development, right? Castle if you can. And then if something like this, at some point you can break out with the move d4. And if not, then you slowly build up for this move to be possible. I recommend, if you can, to put two pawns in the center, even if it means a trade, because then the queens will come off. You don't have to worry anymore, and black is just worse, or white is just worse, because they already moved their queen out. However, I did say that I will give you examples of ways to bring the queen out the right way. Well, here's one example, okay? In the Vienna system, in e4, e5, one of the main lines of the Vienna, in the Vienna gambit, does involve bringing the queen out early. But why is this possible? Well, the queen from here pressures the knight and the pawn and this pawn and cannot be a target. Like, none of black's pieces can target the queen. If black goes here, the queen just takes the pawn and you're just up a pawn. There are other ways. For example, in the London system. Let's say in the London system, one of the main lines, black goes c5 and then tries to play queen b6. And this is very common. The queen now attacks the weak pawn on b2. Queen sliding out to the queen side on on b3 and on b6. Also just very common. It happens not just in the London, happens in many openings. There are variations of the Sicilian defense. For example, where the queen is behind the pawns, like in the Najdorf. This is called the Najdorf Sicilian, something like this. I'm giving you just a very, very fast example. You can go queen f3 here, and queen g3 or f4, and then the queen comes out to f3. But the queen is shielded. It's not just out in the open. You can't go attack a fully developed structure with just the queen. It doesn't work. You've got to bring out some other pieces, and that's the point. But in positions where you've already developed your pieces and your pawns, then the queen can come and be very fearsome. So I would wait until about move 5 or 7. Of course, we cannot end the lesson section without talking about the Scandinavian defense. But the Scandinavian defense, which is e4, d5, taking. Queen takes on d5. And then the queen is under attack. Yes, that is one where it's actually not so bad. But that's because oftentimes the queen just gets out of the way. The queen doesn't hang around. If the queen hung around in the Scandinavian, white would develop, attack the queen immediately, and castle and be very happy. So that is how you deal with early queen attacks. Where is it attacking? Can it capture? Ask yourself these questions. Go through monitoring what is possible and what is not, stabilize, and then punish. Attack the queen in the center of the board, put 2 pawns in the middle, punish your opponent for not developing enough. It'll take a little bit of practice, but now you know how to do it. And now it's game time. So I have a few subscribers that volunteered to play. All right, we're ready to go. And of course, some of these players, you might say, well, Livy, why are you playing at 810? But that's the thing, at this level, these things are absolutely common. That's what we have to remember. All right, so d4, e6 is how I'm starting out. And if I played in 1800, they would not be playing early queen moves. At that level, you're out of that territory. So that's why I wanted to make this. I'm going to play the London system with bishop out to f4. And all these players have volunteered to bring out the queen early. I don't know if my opponent will do this now. We haven't spoken about that. I did just tell my opponent that this opening would be occurring. Also, I just realized I should probably crop in the clocks if I can. But there is one clock. That's my clock. These are all blitz games because, honestly, I didn't want to take up too much time, and my opponent did actually play that move, which is kind of funny. So there we go. Clocks are there. A little bit messy here, editing on the fly. Hope you can all forgive me. Anyway, queen comes out to f6 and is attacking my bishop. We're just going to continue with my London stuff here with pawn to e3, just defending my bishop. Of course, moving it out of the way is fine. Taking on c7, actually. I don't know if that's possible or not. g5 here is a good aggressive move, except it's not. Looks good, but it's not. It's not good because I can play bishop to e5 up 1 square. My opponent would be losing material. My opponent give me a check. I'm going to block here with the pawn. Basically, it's all my subscribers. This is a video about bringing your queen out early. Try to do it. Try to attack me. Don't worry if you totally mess it up. That's kind of the point. Just keep developing. It's not yet time to start attacking this queen. d6 not a bad move, but my opponent should play a little bit more aggressively, because otherwise the queen won't have too much support. Like I said, in this particular version, we're just ignoring, really, what the queen can do. We're not scared. Finish my development. And I think the queen's actually, this is going to be a good lesson. The queen might, yes, perfect, exactly what I wanted to happen. Sometimes opponents just bring out the queen and leave it there. And this is a very common queen trap. Queen's completely locked in. It's got no moves. So in this case, the opponent brought the queen out and didn't do much with it. And actually, when you bring the queen out with black, it is significantly more challenging to do stuff to the white position because you don't go first. You don't have the advantage of playing the first move, and that actually sets you back. With white, you can attack black very quickly. And also, let's not forget, bringing the queen out early doesn't work against certain openings. Against certain openings, it just doesn't. You can't. But in this particular case, the opponent brought the queen out and just left it there. It would have been a little bit better for the opponent to play a move like h6. Right? Couple moves ago to play h6 so that I can't get close to the queen, and maybe g5. That is a little bit more standard, but we would have dealt with that as well. Now the game is over. We take on h7 with check. You say, well, Levy, why not bring the queen? Well, now I'm going to bring the queen. And this is very different than bringing up the queen in the very beginning. So GG to CJ Botticelli. I appreciate you very much. I know it was a short game. I don't think you wanted to lose your queen on move 9 or 10. But again, that is why we're doing this video. Okay, if you've made it this far, this is the point. The point is, if you just play stable and solid and just don't get flustered, you'll win all the time. You'll win all the time, or close. Plus old. Let's attack our queen. But I can go bishop takes. That attacks the king. It was a discovered attack. And now I can take... the thing is, this is not a mate. Oh, this is a mate. Oh, look at this. I have check. Now a king attacks the knight. And if we move the knight, the king will get this square. The knight is taking this away, so we have knight to e4. Pretty mate. Very pretty checkmate. All the pieces work together. We'll say GG. Right? This is under attack. Everything is defended. I have some hanging. Look, it looks like some might be so hanging, but not quite. So as I said, I mean, if the opponent wanted to bring the queen out, a move like h6 would have been a bit better. g5, try to play a bit more aggressively and make sure the queen cannot be attacked. So if you watch this video and you still want to bring the queen out, don't. But if you do, make sure it cannot be attacked. Okay, next opponent. Next opponent, I believe, plays d4. Okay, e4, e5. Now what? Are we going to get a chance? Are we going to get a chance? Yes, thank you. Oh, we didn't agree to this. I just said play e4 and bring the queen out. Now knight c6, I gotta practice what I preach, right? See, if you made it 13 and a half minutes into a Gotham chess video, and you didn't leave, now's the good stuff. You came for the good stuff. Okay, knight c3 is already a step in the wrong direction, because it's not really justifying where the queen is. So I can play knight f6, immediately attacking the queen. Of course, the queen will slide out of danger. We can go here. We can, and I probably will, just to make the queen move again. It has to go here or here to defend against knight c2. I would be very frustrated, actually, if my opponent... Okay, very good. When in doubt, develop a bishop. Again, don't get tunnel vision. You know, don't be like, I gotta get this. Oh, let me bub. Although, actually, c5 is not a bad move. Just develop. I want to teach you a balance between punishing the early queen move and at the same time not getting insane tunnel vision. Make sure to get your king castled. Stick to basic principles. I'm going to castle. Here's why I'm going to castle. Because if knight takes pawn, being very greedy, my opponent's king is stuck in the center. And they don't do that. Now I'm going to play d5. You say, Levy, why would you do that? Pawn takes. Well, now my bishop is open. And if my opponent takes this with the pawn, I have this bishop move. It's take here. So which one of my recaptures is more forcing? Taking with what's worth less? Because now I'm threatening to win the knight. Had I taken with the bishop, I'm not actually threatening to take the knight, because bishop for knight is a fair trade, whereas this is a very clear attack on the knight. Of course, bishop takes is also fine. Okay, now we are going to use a concept called danger levels. My bishop is hanging. However, you should still look around for checks. I don't have any. Captures. I have one. I can take this. Knight takes defends my bishop. But pawn takes attacks the queen. And that's a concept called danger levels, which I will have a video on soon. This is January 4th, 2021, so that video is coming out later this week. Basically, I don't have to move my bishop if I can create an equal or stronger threat. And the threat on the queen is exactly that, right? So bishop here is now hanging. I can still play bishop to e6, but then the queen will take my pawn. Let's just slide the bishop out of danger. If the opponent castles, which is what I expect, then maybe we will start going for this, or going for this. So we notice the early queen move didn't do anything for the opponents. I want to move my bishop, but I really don't want to lose this pawn. So maybe I'll play, b6 is a bit slow. A bit. Okay, but let's play it. Let's build up a nice solid pawn structure here with b6 and c5. Then we'll also move this bishop, and then we'll be very happy. Pawn up, good position, avoided collapse in the opening. Of course, do not trade if you don't have to. Look at this move, attacking the bishop. The bishop has no squares, has to go back to d1 very passively. And that's actually why on the last move it would have been a bit better for my opponent to play d3 to get the dark sword bishop out and offer a trade of pawns that I would have harder time avoiding. But with the two bishops now on the queen, does the queen's only save square is b5? And then is the queen getting trapped? Well, the queen can go this way, huh? The queen can go this way, so maybe we just take... Oh, that also is possible. Huh. Oops. Oh, what about this? Check this out. b5. You know what I like? I like a good old-fashioned Greek gift. So there's a tactic in chess where you can take on h2 if it's only protected by the king. King takes, knight jumps, and then the queen goes. The problem is that the bishop is covering, so what if I go here? And here's my idea. I am offering the opportunity to trade bishops. Maybe that will happen. But then we will get the Greek gift. Bishop takes h2 check, knight jumps, and I cover this on my Instagram. I have a carousel-style post on the Greek gift sacrifice. At Gotham Chess on Instagram. I don't know what y'all do on Instagram, but now you have a chess place as well. I don't know if my opponent's going to do this. In fact, taking my bishop, probably not the best move. Knight jumps back. If I take, they probably want to take with the queen. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to play queen e7 because I want to put my queen in front of my bishop and laser beam down to h2. That's the idea here. Queen e5 and bishop down to h2. It's called a battery when your queen and your bishop are lined up on the same diagonal like this. Knight there is not a bad move. Not a bad move at all. I'm going to, well, if I take, they actually could go here, which is sort of funny. But that's okay, then I'll just move my knight out of danger. My knight used to guard my bishop. Now we play queen to e5. Now, if my opponent plays f4, there will be a fun move for us. That'll be an instructive moment, but there's a chance that does not happen. A chance. It might. It's much more natural to play g3, and of course, let's not forget this bishop is not free because we are threatening checkmate in one move. g3 is played. Of course we can trade, but you know what I'm doing here? I'm keeping the tension, is what that's called. Not just breaking the vision of my two pieces on each other. How about we play the move f5, defending the bishop? And if the bishop takes us, we take back, opening our rook. So that's the good thing about watching some of these videos, is that it's not just about the opening. You also learn how to kind of navigate and thought process. There's a lot of little nuggets of information sprinkled in here. Queen c3, okay. Queen trade, and this is not a free pawn, because then the bishop would come here, pinning us to the king. Always look how they can attack you. You're not the only one playing. But if I take the bishop now, and they take back, then this is a free pawn. However, if my opponent takes me first, it was not a free pawn, but my opponent didn't see that. So now we are 2 pawns up. Now I have a prediction. My opponent can't go this way. They will play pawn to b3, trying to develop their bishop. However, just like you have to... Look at that. Look at that. Fortune teller. Exactly the situation that I just had. You have to look, how can they attack my most valuable piece? And my opponent just walked into that. Exactly as I said. If bishop takes rook, they take our queen, so we take the queen first, and then we go down and take the rook. That is how you have to think. How can they put me in danger? This is a cool move. It attacks my rook, and my bishop is also under attack. I'm going to save my bishop, because it's actually better to get a bishop for a rook than losing a bishop for free. If you lose a bishop for nothing, that's 3-0. If you lose a rook for a bishop, that is 5-3. You get something, and the difference there is 2 points. Not to mention that because we have such a big lead in this position, we are happy simplifying. Right? We're happy simplifying. The way we win this is we need to get our rook somehow in the game, and oftentimes you can trade a few pawns and open up a line for the rook. Of course, bringing the king up is also important in the endgame. The opponent does not have a lot of moves here. Just bringing the king up. And then we will start to push these pawns, making way for our rook. This pawn is a bit of a target if the bishop can Oh, that's a free rook. That's not good. That probably will be the final move. Oh, no, the opponent is still playing. I will take this. Now we will convert this. Let's take the fastest way to convert this. Cut the king off. Don't let it get back into the game. And now the king is stuck on the h-file. Just don't stalemate here. e3 is a perfectly good move, because if pawn takes pawn, this pawn goes through. That's called a pawn breakthrough. When you have a 2-on-1 like this, you get through like that. Queen, just make sure it's not stalemate. They're going to check me. This is mate in one move. Defended with the rook. I will say GG as always. In the opening, if the opponent doesn't play bishop c4, like in this game, you develop the knight to f6, otherwise bishop c4 is still mate. Right? Don't hang mate. And then you move on exactly as we did in this game, a mix of punishment and not. And now, for those of you that waited around until the very end, I will show you how to develop the right way. How to bring the queen out in an opening like the Caro-Kann, for example. Against the Caro-Kann, there is knight c3 and a line with queen to e2. Queen to e2 is very tricky. There is also queen to f3. The point of this is that if a trade occurs, your knight is very tricky for the opponent. The move knight f6 is not a bad move. I will now push, and my queen is behind my pawn. My queen's a little bit in the way of my bishop. But there is also g3, bishop g2, so I can get my bishop out another way. Was when I move my queen early, notice I didn't move it too far out. I can castle queenside. So for example, look, I'll take the knight. They will take me. Right? Here I don't know, I can kind of take that. That also looks nice. Let me take back like this. This person actually did a very good job neutralizing any sort of tricks with my early queen move. I can do a few things here. Let us develop a piece. A bishop out to f4. Queen still has a little bit of movement here, and the rook can come to the middle attacking the queen. It's a benefit. This pawn is not threatening to take this because of this, but we'll just develop. It's another benefit of having the queen. If my opponent plays bishop b6, which does disconnect the pin, I will have to move my bishop out of the way, which you don't like. This person has done a very good job so far. This person is also rated 1130. Notice it's a bit of a rating increase from last two opponents, so... Also just realize that the board is cropped a bit. I'm very sorry for those of you that have watched that far, and there was a little miscrop. I did say I wanted to play g3 and bishop g2, right? So I feel like going back here is a little short-sighted, because then I'm not going to be able to develop my light-scored bishop so easily. Okay, well, that's pretty fair. Opponent should probably play like knight, queen, some of these moves. By queen, I mean hang the queen in one move, because then I would be very happy. But knight out is definitely good. So like I said, normally queen here is a good move, because you can attack the b2 pawn. But in this particular case, okay, a5 is a bit odd. It's not a bad move. But it's definitely a little bit peculiar. Then I play g3. Actually, rook d1 there would have been also good. It's my opponent's next move a4, and then a3, and then take my rook, and then take my king. I don't really know. I don't know what the plan is here. I'm a little bit perplexed, but I'm going to go here and castle my king. If pawn e4 attacking my knights, just move my knights. So let's go here. This was always the plan. Another benefit of kind of sliding the queen out of the way is that you get this mobility, as I've said. Bishop will come out in it, and we will castle. The bishop can take, but the bishop can also get trapped if that happens, so I'm not too concerned. And actually our opponent here might be suffering from a bit of a positional deficiency. The fact that they cannot castle this way because of my rook, and castling that way could be kind of dangerous, considering they've opened this g-file. Assuming I take with the queen, pawn takes is also okay. But the way we break down the structure is we either go after the weak pawn, or we move f4. Once we move our knight, we have to break. Yeah, I just mentioned that, and I don't think so, man. Is that really possible? B3, pawn a4. What is going on? Do I want to get tunnel vision over there and just try to trap the piece? I don't know. What if I just ignore it and just go for the weak pawn, as I said? Just ignore the bishop and use my development, my early queen move now justified a little bit later, put two rooks down the middle of the board, maybe even sacrifice if I can, but probably not, because most likely that is a stupid idea. I think I'll be very happy. Then I can block the bishop out of the game, but rather than getting tunnel vision trying to trap it, I just use the fact that it's not involved in the game anymore. So I'll give you whoa, that is a very bold move. Okay, it's time to block the bishop out. No more bishop for black. Black could play a4 to try to hit my pawns over there and save the bishop, but I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Rook to d8. Good move. It's time to bring my knight. No need to take here if you don't have to. Let's play knight to h4. Knight is coming to f5. That could be the key move here. That could be the key move. I'm not taking. I would rather be taken and then bring a new rook. If I take, they bring a new rook or a new queen. I lose my fight for this file. So keep the tension, keep your rook here as long as it's protected. Keep trying to improve your position. This critical pawn break will be kind of the decider. Queen c8 is a not a bad move, stopping this. Okay, well now I believe it is time for f4, and now I believe the game will end because I don't see how you deal with your king being blown open like this. Not to mention that whenever I want, maybe I should have played rook a1. Actually, I think my best move there was rook a1. I think right here I should have played this. That was very silly. Now the bishop is just trapped. I apologize. Rook a1 was the best move. That was just not smart. I just did a not good thing. But it's okay because the bishop is totally out of the game. Now I can go here, but it's actually, I think, better now to just focus on this. That looks way too dangerous. This pawn's only guard is the king. It would have been the bishop, but the bishop got trapped in my territory. So I'm very happy here, and this is nice. We take on e5, we take on f6, f7 is falling, we're laser beaming. We have checkmate in 2, I believe. This is a check, and now the queen and the rook link up. King e8 or king f8, queen f7 is checkmate in one move. We win the game. We will say GG as always to the volunteers.